Welcome to this Tom's Tech Notes video. This is the fifth video in the Video User's Guide for PowerDirector. This is the first of two videos that show the basic editing functions for PowerDirector, including how to edit the video and audio in a recording and how to produce edited videos. The User's Guide is in playlist, How to Edit Videos with PowerDirector 20. Please watch the first video in the User's Guide before this one. There are links to the playlist at the end of this video and in the description below the video window. You can open PowerDirector by double-clicking on a saved project file or by dragging the saved project file or videos, audio files, or image files onto the PowerDirector icon. You cannot drag a file shortcut into PowerDirector. Or you can just double-click PowerDirector's icon. After it's open, you can edit additional files by dragging them onto the PowerDirector window. You can either drag them into the media room, or you can drag them directly down onto the timeline, where you will have to put them for editing. When you drag files down to the timeline from the desktop, they're automatically copied to the media room. To edit files that are in the media room, just drag them down to the timeline. Editing tips. Make sure the video and audio tracks are both selected. PowerDirector 20 shows the video tracks with an oval at the left end, and if there's a dot in it, that means it is selected. Older PowerDirector versions use a square with a check mark in it. Click the box or oval to select or deselect the track. The preview window shows all selected video tracks, one on top of the other. The first track is at the bottom. If there's something on the other tracks, it's shown on top of track 1, and so forth. And you hear sound from all the audio tracks that are selected. These are the audio tracks, these are the video tracks. So you want to make sure when you're editing that you only select the audio and video tracks you want to see and hear. And also, if you're about to produce a video, you want to make sure to select only the tracks that you want in your final video. There are two options in the Preferences editing menu that affect how the videos play while editing. Return to beginning a video after preview and switch to movie mode automatically during playback. When the switch to movie mode automatically option is checked, here's what happens. If you start to play within a selected clip, the clip is automatically deselected and play continues to the end of the video. If you start to play and you're not in a selected clip, the same happens. It plays to the end of the video and stops. If switch to movie mode automatically during playback is not checked and you start to play in a selected video clip anywhere in that clip, the clip remains selected and play stops at the end of the clip. If you start to play and you're not in a selected clip, the option really has no effect, because play continues to the end of the video. The other option, return to beginning a video after preview, changes the playback this way. If you're playing to the end of a video and you're in a selected clip, the playback position returns to the beginning of that clip. And if you start playing and you're not in a selected clip, play goes to the end of the video, and then the playback position returns to the beginning of the video. After many hours of editing, I've found it much easier to edit if you check the Switch to Movie Mode Automatically option and don't check the Return to Beginning option. To edit each part of the video, move the playback position back and forth as I'll be describing, and then press the split icon to split the video at that point. To locate the exact point to split the video, play and listen to the video, and you can use the audio waveform that's displayed to show where individual words or even individual syllables are if you want to use those to locate the split point. If you do use the audio waveform, the first time you drag a file down to the timeline, remove the file name because it blocks the audio display and you can't see it. Right-click the file, select Edit Alias. For older versions of PowerDirector, the steps are slightly different to edit the alias. Right-click the file, select Edit Clip Alias, then Change Alias, and then change it to a short title. Use the numbers 1, 2, and 3 so that you'll be able to tell that this clip goes to a particular video on the media room. This is the first real video I'm editing, so I'll put a 1 here for the title. Now, if I want to split this, each new split will have this same title 1 and it won't block the audio waveform. You can drag this pointer to the right or click the plus to stretch the audio timeline so you can better see the words. If the timeline is too wide for the display, you can drag the scroll bar at the bottom. You should pause the video before scrolling. That does not affect the video playback speed. To use the preview window, check the boxes at the left end of the videos on the timeline that you're going to be editing and uncheck the others. Otherwise, they'll show on top of each other in the preview window. The preview window shows the selected video as you play it, and when you pause it, it shows a snapshot of where you are in playing that video. The numbers give the position of the playback in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. If your video was recorded at 30 frames per second, 1 frame would be 1/30th of a second. That's a very tiny part of the video. If nothing down here is selected, as it is not now, you can tell they get highlighted. Selected, not selected. If nothing down here is selected, these numbers start at 0 on the left end of the timeline and go to the rightmost part of the last file on the timeline. If there is anything selected, these numbers go from the beginning to the end of the selected part. You can use the numbers as a guide when you're splitting the video. To play or pause the video, click this button. It's playing, it's paused. You can also press the space bar on the keyboard to play or pause the video. The pointer here shows the playback position, and you can move the playback position by dragging it back and forth. And just as the numbers represent the position within a selected video or the position within the entire timeline, depending on whether or not anything is selected, this control operates the same way. If nothing is selected, you can move the playback position from the beginning of the timeline to the rightmost part of the rightmost video on the timeline. If anything is selected, you can move only within the selection. You click the left and right arrows here to move 1 frame in the playback position. You can change how far the arrowheads move the playback position by clicking here and selecting seconds, minutes, or whatever, but I recommend you leave it set to frame. This will fast forward the video. As we said before, this plays and pauses the video. If there's a selection, clicking the box will move it to the beginning of the selection. If there's no selection, clicking the box will move the playback position to the beginning of the timeline. The pointer at the top of the timeline shows the playback position, and the red playback line shows the position on all of the tracks on the timeline. You can click within a clip to select it, or you can drag over several clips to select them all. You can also use Control-click to select additional clips. The selected clips can be copied or moved or deleted. You can use the Control-X, Control-C, and Control-V keys to do that. It's better to drag the selections and maybe use the delete key to do some of those operations. To move the playback position on the timeline, you can drag this pointer here, or you can click on the scale, or you can click in a clip to move the playback position to the beginning of that clip and select that clip. You can deselect the selection without moving the playback position by clicking a blank space on the timeline. To split a video, position the playback indicator and then hit the split key. But be careful, if the position line doesn't cross a selected clip, pressing the split key will split every video the line crosses. It's split here and it's split here. However, if the line does cross a selected video clip and you press the split key, it only splits the selected clip. So again, when you hit the split key, if the playback line crosses a selected clip, which it does here, and you press the split key, it will only split the selected clip that's crossed. So if I hit the split key now, it will only split this clip and it will split it where the red line is. But if the line does not cross a selected clip and the playback indicator crosses several clips, when you hit the split key, it will split every clip it crosses. Notice it split this clip that was here, and it now reproduced the identifier on the right side of the split. If you split a selected clip, hit the split key, it not only splits the selected clip where the line was, but it also selects the part of the clip that was to the right of the playback indicator. You can get rid of the extra splits. Here's the split. Let's say you didn't really want this split. Select the parts of the video on both sides of the split, right-click anywhere in the area, and select Combine. That got rid of the split. You don't really have to get rid of the unused splits or the wrong splits. You can just highlight the area you really want to move and work on that area. To delete a clip, select it, hit the delete key. If there's something to the right of it, it'll ask you, do you want to remove this clip and leave the gap? Or do you want to remove it and fill the gap? Or do you want to remove it, fill the gap, and move all clips? What that does is, if there are any disconnected clips to the right of where you're deleting, and let me fix it so there are. If I get rid of this clip, I'm hitting the delete key, and I say I want to remove, fill gap, and move all clips. It'll get rid of this, it'll move all of this over, but it'll also move this over the same amount. So let's do that. To insert a clip, just select it and move it and leave it where you want it. Let's say you want to plunk it in the middle of this clip. Release. You can either write over what's there, you can insert it, and at which point it'll move the stuff that was there to the right. And again, this insert and move all clips. If there's anything to the right of this point that's separate from nothing to the left, it would move that also. There isn't now, so it won't move anything down here. These two will act the same. So it'll move what's under here, and it will put this here. So let's do that. Now to get rid of a space, you can select it, click in it, and hit the delete key. Now there is another option here. If you right-click a blank, you have that option, remove and move clips, on the same track, which would act the same way as a delete key, or remove all clips after the remove clip. If there was anything down here to the right of it and you selected this option, it would move this over to fill the gap and move anything that was over here the same amount. You will find that for various reasons, sometimes when you click on a blank space between two parts of the video and you hit the delete key, it won't move the stuff over. If that happens, try the right click and this option. If that doesn't work, and sometimes it won't, you'll have to just click on the parts you're trying to move over and just drag them. Now, of course, this has the problem. If there are any other parts here that are separate clips, it won't move them. It'll move them one at a time. And you really want to close this gap, but you want to move everything. So you would be sure to select everything to the right of there and drag it together. And very carefully line it up, let go. You can tell when you've dragged it too far because it'll ask you if you want to overwrite it. If it says that, you dragged it too far, for instance. Now it asks me if you want to overwrite. But if I didn't drag it too far, it doesn't ask if you want to overwrite. When you edit a video, you may combine clips from several videos. Use the voiceover room to add or replace audio in the clips. You must adjust the level of clips from different sources so that the audio volume does not vary during playback. First, determine whether you need to adjust the audio levels within the video. Listen to the video, look at the waveforms. If you see dots on the waves at certain points, the level is too high at that point, it'll cause distortion, and you need to reduce the level there. And of course, if there's much variation, you may need to adjust the level on parts of the video to make the video sound even when you play it. To adjust the audio level within an audio track, enable the track by checking this box. To adjust the level on the timeline, select one or more clips. Hold the cursor over the white line across the waveform. Press the left mouse button and drag it up or down to change the level. It will change the level in all the selected clips. If the audio you want to adjust isn't in a clip by itself, split the audio around that area. Then adjust the level of the audio in the clip. To adjust the level in the audio mixing room, click the symbol above the ellipsis to open the room. Be sure you've enabled the track containing the audio you want to edit by clicking the box. The numbers at the top of the columns in the audio mixing room correspond to the track numbers in the timeline. To change the level of the entire track, you can drag this slider to the left or right. To change the level for a clip, select the clip. Make sure the progress indicator is at the beginning of the clip. Then drag the slider on the upper part of the audio mixing room up or down. If the level doesn't adjust evenly, like this one, it's because there are volume keyframes in the clip. You can try to remove them by right-clicking the clip and selecting Restore to Original Volume Level. Then try again adjusting the level. If that still doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't, you'll have to adjust the level by using the timeline as we discussed previously. You can also try removing an extra volume key by dragging it out of the clip area. Consult the user's guide for exactly how to manipulate the volume keyframes. The Normalize function will even out all the clips in the video. It does it on a clip-by-clip basis. So you can't use the function if the audio track doesn't have more than one clip. and you can try it, see if it works for you. Sometimes the normalize function doesn't do what you expect. These peaks are all too high, and that causes distortion. If you notice that the normalize function has made the levels too high, you can use a Control-Z to remove the effect of the normalize. And once again, you only have to worry about the volume of individual clips or individual parts of the video if you have built the video from various sources, like different recordings, using different microphones, using the voice-over room to insert audio in the video, things like that. Video 6 in the playlist describes additional editing functions, shows how to edit the audio and video tracks of a video separately, and shows how to produce all or part of an edited video. If you enjoyed this Tom's Tech Notes video, please like it and leave a comment. To watch my other videos or to read many computer help articles, please visit my YouTube channel or my website at the URLs shown here. There are links to the playlist in the description below the video window. When thumbnails appear, click the thumbnail at upper left to open the playlist containing this video. Click at lower left to watch a video recommended for you. Click my photo to visit the Tom's Tech Notes YouTube channel. To subscribe, hover over my photo, then click the red button. Request notifications to be notified when I add videos to the channel.